Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the New American Dream Radio Show, streaming live on revolution.radio and on our YouTube channel, the New American Dream Radio Show YouTube channel. We have a new American dream, not of new homes and toasters and microwaves, but of becoming the type of country we always thought we were. A country where people help each other. People work together to do things that they couldn't do by themselves. A country where people communicate with each other, they talk to each other, and even more important, they listen to each other. A country where people love each other. That's our new American dream. Well, I'm so glad that you're joining me here tonight. And without further ado, I'm going to pull up our first guest of the evening. It's Jim Napolitan. He joins us in this second week of every month, and he's a wonderful guest. He'll be talking about some economic issues and so forth. So we're going to get James Napolitan into the show momentarily. I'm not sure I have the right number here. Let me try again.
Hello, Chuck.
Hello, Jim. All right. Welcome to the New American Dream Radio Show. You are on the air.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to hear your voice. Well, just a quick comment or two on the state of the economy right now. The bull
Okay.
market continues, although today it took a heck of a hit. And the important thing to note today was quite a hit specifically to the tech stocks. Value stocks like Berkshire Hathaway went up $10, 2% gain. At the same time, the S&P 500 had almost a mirror image loss. So this was a flight to quality, a flight to value as opposed to growth. Now, that's what occurred today. And for those who haven't watched or aren't aware yet of today's action, the Dow dropped about, I think, 600 or so, and but the Nasdaq was even worse. The Nasdaq, remember, is mostly tech stocks. Now, at this point, you may know since last month we did have a quarter point drop in interest rate, widely expected by the Fed. The real question: what would they do in December? And frankly, right now, that's completely up in the air. The Fed is stuck, as we've said before, between two problems. One is a clearly slowing labor market. Now, we don't know how much it's slowed because of the shutdown. Meant the 40-day shutdown that we had covered both of the last two unemployment reports. So we don't have the full Fed unemployment report, but we do have a lot of statewide measures of unemployment. There's also ADP, which is the nation's largest check processor, can tell you basically how many people are being added or subtracted from the rolls. And they're oftentimes fairly close. They're correlated with what the federal government then comes out with. So there's other ways of looking at it. And those viewpoints look like companies aren't hiring and they aren't firing. They're just standing pat, but they're not hiring. So the labor market is slowing down. And so the Fed is confronted by that. Ordinarily, that'd be a reason to cut rates to stimulate the economy. Lower interest rates, always stimulative. However, the Fed also has to control inflation. And the inflation rates are not looking good. We're still stubbornly at or above 3%. The Fed's objective, long-term stated, was to be down at 2%. The Fed's in a pickle. The Trump administration, Trump would definitely like lower interest rates. And one looks at that and you wonder, does he really want it? Yes, it'd stimulate the economy, and there would certainly be pockets of growth that profited from cheaper rates, such as the housing market. But we really want to also deal with the eventual inflation that might augment. And so when I hear his talking about this, I'm wondering, well, is he seeing some other data that we aren't seeing? And which is always a question with the Fed. They definitely have access to more data than anybody else. But that said, inflation is still there. I went to the food store tonight, was rather stunned at the price of beef products, for example.
Yeah.
And so the man knows that they feel that. The common man doesn't necessarily feel that, yes, your pension fund is better funded because the stock market has been going up. They don't necessarily get that.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. It's a tricky market for Chairman Powell of the Fed. It looks like Trump is going to get to select another Fed member. He has so far selected a person that definitely hewed to the Trump administration desire, somebody who would rather not even a quarter of a point, but a full half point. They say that would make sense if you thought we were sliding into a recession. I just put that out there as a general descriptor of the market. But at any rate, I thought tonight we should maybe talk a little bit about another issue that is in front of the country, and that is healthcare. And how broad this has been one of the core arguments in the shutdown. And in this case, with subsidies that were in the original act that supported people's insurance pay, and those then did in fact, I think, expire on November 1st. I could be wrong in the date. So those subsidies removed. People are going to have to pay more for their insurance. Now, that was under the Obamacare. Now, the issue, broadly speaking, during COVID, there were a number of additional subsidies, and those now are aging out. And that's what the big argument is on. Should they be continued? It is the case that the government is spending 50% more on Medicaid than it did in 2019. Now, are there that many more poor people? No, of course not. So there is a huge cost issue. Are the Trump people correct with significant amounts going to undocumented immigrants? Probably not. But there is this enormous increase. And in part, it's because subsidies, I say that the SNAP payments are given more liberally than they have in the past. So there's a problem.
That's not been the experience of people that I know. Quite the opposite.
What has been their experience? What has been their experience?
Yeah, their experience has been it's much harder to qualify and the benefits are lower.
I'm guessing that's tightening up. That is part and parcel of the general, I'd say, okay, I'm going to call it anti-immigrant posture of the government.
Yeah,
and
that's a good term for it.
Yeah, let's just blunt. When you imply that many people are criminals, when in point of fact, the evidence is that a smaller proportion of the immigrants are criminals, i.e., end up going to jail, than the general population they're entering.
Yeah,
that is the rest. But that said, the larger problem, and this is the broad problem. C. Everett Koop, the Surgeon General under Reagan, I heard him give a talk when Hillary Clinton was working with her husband on the medical coverage problem, and he said people want three things from their healthcare system. They want breadth of care, i.e., as many as possible covered. They want quality of care. They want the highest quality medicine. And third, they want the lowest possible price. And he says, I can design a system that will give you any two of the three, but you can't have all three. And now, as I stood back over this 34, I heard this the better part of 30 years ago. As I say, this, you may remember early on in '92, Bill Clinton gave Hillary the task of heading up the group to make the healthcare recommendations. What I now view as a thankless task. But that said, I looked at our system, concluded in general, what we have opted for is high quality and high price, but incomplete breadth. And what it's led to is that we end up paying a lot more for the breadth. And now you pay your money and you take your choice. If you want to have something like universal health care, you have to accept and have lower prices. You can get both of them, but you're going to get low quality. You'll get long lines and a lack of. Eventually, people, the best and the brightest, will leave the field, and you will not have very good coverage. If we have one such system already in this country, the VA system, where people do have basically unlimited health care. It's expensive, and they still end up waiting very long time. In fact, a scandal arose about 2 years ago when they realized just how many people were dying while waiting for a medical appointment. I mean, people would get an appointment that would be a year away.
Wow.
So you get with complete bread, you'll get low quality, and you'll get you may get cheaper quality. It may be cheaper, but you'll get low quality. If you want the lowest cost, then you're going to have to go to a free market, and the free market will price things much lower. You'll get good quality. You'll get the highest quality, the lowest price, but you will not get ultimate broad coverage. Some people won't be able to afford it. The same thing is true of any other product. If we wanted to have the cheapest possible cars, we could have the government dictate that they couldn't be priced more than $20,000. Immediately, you'd have the lowest quality cars for the most people, and you'd have a lack of availability. This is exactly what happened under communism. You had demand that wasn't being met, and you had, yes, the prices were low, but the quality was non-existent. Good Lord, I saw the East German Trabant, a terrible little car, two-cycle, smoke-burning, terrible car.
I was thinking of the Yugo, but
well, when I met a young man when I was in East Germany in '94, he was the same age as me, and he was 36 at the time. I asked him, well, why don't you try to go to West Germany? He says, because I'm due to get my car. And how long are you waiting for it? 16 years.
Whoa.
He'd been on a waiting list since he turned 21. Now, that's what you get when you have the government engage in price control. You get a lack of production. So if we want lower prices, the government can definitely do it, but you're not going to be assured that you're going to have adequate production. So yes, the government can tell Lilly, instead of $150, $200 a month, let's bring the price of Ozempic down to $5 a month. Well, you're not going to have Lilly producing it. It'll just be that simple. At low enough prices, you lose the production. So I point these things out. If you want to look at what a free market would price goods at, medical goods, we have a couple of examples. Do you know what they are? They're right in front of you.
I do not. I'm not even going to guess.
Generally, a lot of dentistry is free market. Okay, you go in, you pay. Okay, a comparatively small number of people have insurance for their dental care. Another one, let's say hearing aids. Another case. Okay, a third, veterinarian medicine. So your dog, you likely don't have medical insurance for your dog. So you pay a market rate for the product. What does that mean? We get high quality. We have high quality veterinarian services, high quality treatment, and but it's not affordable for everybody.
Yeah.
And that means, okay, so that's the trade-off. Anytime you have a free market, you'll get the highest quality for the most people at the lowest possible price. Veterinarian services, when I look at what it costs to treat my dog for a year with weekly injections, infusions, it was around $10,000.
Oh,
What would it cost to do the same thing with a human? Think of that.
mm,
Nothing like 10,000.
yeah.
Okay, so veterinarian services give you an idea what a free market will price something at, price healthcare at. It tells you healthcare for the and I would add there's a couple more areas. Audiology. Most people do not have hearing aids that are covered by insurance. So those are free markets with a wide range in pricing. And plus, they have more innovation. Innovation will always come with a private free market and rarely comes from a purely government structured market. Government does best, I would say, on getting innovative research when it funds basic research. And of course, it's done that since World War II through the university system. Under challenge right now, under severe challenge, as we witness these major universities being put under duress. That's a separate issue, and we could talk about it. But it's one I feel strongly about.
Yeah,
I'm
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd point out a lot of basic research is done is funded by that's funded by the government is done through the universities and through the National Institutes of Health. So, for example, when they cut the $500 million of monies that were flowing through to Harvard, if you looked at where did $500 million go across the whole university, it went to two departments. One, the med school, and second, 60% of it went to the med school and to the School of Public Health. Now, those are arguably not particularly political institutions. That's not where you might say a hotbed of leftism, not in the med school, not in the School of Public Health. You know, maybe in the certainly in the School of Liberal Arts, that sort of thing. The point is, it was a broad-based hit, but the hardest hit was in medical research, and that's a real damaging thing, a real difficult thing, because you can't simply stop your research. You're watching cell systems evolve and grow. You can't just simply stop them because the money is not there without simply destroying the research. There's your problem. So with that, I'll get off that high horse. But
well, it's a good high horse to be on. I mean, with what when cuts like that happen, I mean, are there private funding opportunities to make up the difference?
Not really. There's now what?
I had a feeling.
So some of these schools had the advantage, the single advantage is they had large enough amounts of undesignated endowment to be able to borrow money. So Harvard a year ago borrowed $750 million.
Good Lord.
Okay, so they were able to do that.
But that can't go on for too long. I mean,
what?
I mean, that's your cash flows, really bad.
Well, and here's the part that most people don't realize. A bank will only loan you money against the undesignated portion of your endowment. If
Hmm.
most of the major universities and colleges endowments are designated, people give the money for scholarships and professorships,
Sure.
research programs.
Sure.
Okay, so it's all designated. They don't usually just leave the money um, to do whatever the school feels like.
Hmm.
Rarely do people endow replacing the chiller and the air conditioner. Um,
Yeah.
and so there's the rub. A school like Harvard probably has more than two-thirds of its money in the endowment is already designated, can only be used for specific scholarships and professorships
Hmm.
and specific research. So if your research isn't already endowed and the school has to borrow money, it'll have limited capacity. Let me give you one example. Sweetbriar College, nice small college out east, went out of existence, went under with $65 million in its endowment.
Hmm.
Why? Because the whole 65 million was designated. They didn't have any money left. They didn't have any assets that a bank would loan them money against because the bank can't claim designated monies.
Okay.
They're protected by law. And now Sweetbriar managed to go to a judge and get a judge to break the covenants, but and allow them to invade the that money.
Hmm.
But that that's still a death knell. How would you like to endow a scholarship and find that, in fact, your medical research scholarship, your professorship, in fact, was used to buy a new air conditioner this year,
Yeah.
and yeah, and to cover the school's debt for the year deficit. You wouldn't. That will be the death knell of giving for that school.
Yeah.
So Sweetbriar, I'm sure, deep trouble. I'm very interested, obviously, in what's going on in the education world, and it's a world under duress.
Mm.
Um, so they have it's a particular financial model that's rather rigid. About
Mm.
80% of most schools' costs are labor, and you can't just say, "Well, we're running a little tight on money, so this year we won't have any for the next 3 years we won't have any Spanish taught." Okay,
Ah.
you can't just drop out professors and majors. It's not like
Right.
moving cogs on an assembly line. Um, so we should talk more another time about the education model because it's a fascinating one that's under duress. I spent a lot of time in it
Hmm.
with a small
Yeah.
college,
I'm
where
aware.
I would
Mm.
point out 18 mocks, your relatives, have gone to Franklin College of Indiana,
Yeah.
starting in 1892.
Mm.
So the mock name is well respected at Franklin. Uh, most recent graduate left there 3 years ago. My
Okay.
wife was the number 8. So I just that for your general audience's
Yes.
interest.
Well,
And
thank you for.
I would point out, I would add also that Chuck will be coming to the 163rd consecutive Thanksgiving reunion of the Jackson Mock Clark clan
Yes.
this Thanksgiving. Yes,
Absolutely. And I look forward to it.
longest
And you're going to be hosting it, and that's a wonderful
we
thing.
will, and we will be. So I would point out I'm sure it's the longest running Thanksgiving reunion in the country.
All right.
So
Hey.
listen, you're, the, Chuck is from an honored clan.
Well,
I'll leave you with that.
I am blessed with that, and we've used up our time, Jim. So thank you so much. This was a really interesting show, and I thank you, and I will see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot. Bye bye now.
Bye bye. All right. Wow. What a what a great talk. I really enjoyed that. And now it's time for our second guest of the evening. Philip Ferrugio, who'll be joining us from Port Orange,
Hello,
Florida.
hello, 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 hello,
Hello, hello, hello, Mr. Philip
hello.
Ferrugio. It's the
Yes,
Empire, stupid.
yes, it is. And I am. Let's
Aren't we all?
phony war day.
Oh,
Phony
I
war
had a
day.
feeling you're going to read that one.
Well, I have to. I mean, it was on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Phony war day. I just love it each year at this time in November. All the flags waving and ceremonial heads hung down in honoring our fallen heroes and brave warriors. Hogwash. Take the time to go onto your YouTube or whatever you watch and see the 1971 Winter Soldier hearings. Winter Soldier hearings, 1971. See actual former soldiers explaining all the horror and devastation that our government orchestrated through those men. They were used as pawns on a chessboard, just like what was done for all the phony wars since World War II. All the so called police actions and preemptive illegal acts perpetrated by fake leaders through their spineless or accomplished military brass, most of it based on lies and disinformation. Now, the corporate sports world, dominated by those who run our empire, falls in line. This past weekend, all the sports teams wore the colors of war, khaki military hats and jackets. It's better to say cocky, but anyway, khaki military hats and jackets during the games. It was a love fest, replete with honor guards and the moist-eyed singers celebrating to our national anthem. Many in those crowds of adoring fans, which is short for fanatic, actually think that we, America, is still at war. The dictator Trump and his cabal even changed the name to War Department. You see, when a nation is at war, the need for loyalty expands. Anyone not in step with this fascination for American exceptionalism must be a traitor or a terrorist supporter. That's how far down the rabbit hole we have fallen. So, in conclusion, the sad truth of all of this is how our military has been used and abused for so long. The men and women who join, since we have no draft, and put on those lovely uniforms seem to misunderstand. Like those National Guard personnel who were pushed into active duty during the illegal and immoral war on Iraq. I refuse to call that the Iraq War. Trump and company are now doing it again within our nation. Does anyone remember, or if too young, to revisit the Kent State Massacre in 1970? This is how close our country is dangling towards a fall to fascism now. Let's hope more of our young soldiers, sailors, airmen, and guard begin saying no more kings when called upon to do the dirty against innocent foreigners here and abroad. They all deserve better. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So when you were discussing how to pronounce it, for some reason I came up with a rhyming thing, tacky khaki. But
Tacky khaki. I like that. Tacky khaki. But you know what's funny? You know what? My friend Jay in New York, he used to be a radio talk show host, and he's from college. I know him since we went to college. But anyway, he and I, he was making the point. He's right. He said, "Why did they have the military like in our country, especially? Why are they always wearing camouflage?"
Yeah,
He
right.
says they're not fighting in the jungle. They're not fighting on some desert. They're in a city, United States city,
Yeah.
and they or an airport, and they have to wear camouflage because it's to intimidate. That's all. It's just to intimidate. Because when you see someone in the camouflage, it kind of scares you a little bit. I mean, because they shouldn't be in camouflage.
Right. But I mean,
They shouldn't be in
it's
camouflage.
it's high fashion. I mean, you see all kinds of people wearing this
When
camouflage crap,
when
man.
General,
And
listen to this.
it
When
doesn't
General,
mean that they're soldiers. It just means they're putting on a show. Uh, it's
right?
I don't know. It's crazy.
When General Stanley McChrystal was
Mm,
called back from, what was it, Afghanistan at that time. I don't know. We already had the Iraq phony war.
mm,
He was called back by Obama, and Obama is in. I think his jet was it landed in Denver or something, and
mm,
McChrystal he flown in, and he was supposed to. So he went on Air Force One to meet with the president, right? That the
mm-hmm.
president wanted to talk to him. And what was McChrystal wearing? He's wearing camouflage.
Oh
He's
boy.
wearing fucking It's like he just
Yeah.
came from the front lines. He just came from the front lines, and he didn't have time to
Yeah.
change. I mean, this is sick. This is absolutely absurd, Chuck. It's
Right.
absurd. The militarism in this country is scary.
Oh, it's
You watch
very
some of these
scary.
colleges. Yeah, you watch some of these colleges, especially in the Southwest,
Mm,
like Texas A&M, for instance. Texas A&M at their games, they got like thousands of ROTC in their uniforms.
mm,
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. These are
yeah.
kids in college, and it happens all even over here. I think in the high school my stepdaughter went to when we moved here. I'm pretty sure there was an ROTC. This
Mm,
is back in 96,
yeah.
95,
Well,
96. It was crazy,
you know what?
crazy.
When when I was a kid growing up, and I was in the Boy Scouts and everything, everybody in the troop was interested in going into ROTC. That hey, yeah, and then we can be an officer. We can be in charge.
Really, really is
Uh,
that's interesting. You know, it's funny you said that. I never had any interest in uh, in going into the military.
yeah.
Never. You know, even before Vietnam, I wanted to be a detective.
Huh.
That was
Interesting.
my when I was 13, 14 years old.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean my cousin and we formed a little like a fantasy club. It was called the D Men. Okay, the
Hey.
detective men. And we were going to
Okay.
go around in the neighborhood and check out what's going on with everybody. I mean, that's what I was into.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be I wanted to be a
Yeah.
detective, maybe an FBI man. I don't know. And then as I
Right.
got older,
Yeah.
as I got into college, I stopped having that fantasy.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
want to be a cop. I didn't want to be an FBI man.
Well,
You know,
I didn't really want to be into. I mean, I guess I kind of wanted to be a spy. The James Bond or
really?
that kind of thing.
Oh
But
wow,
I was never
really? That's
interested in the
interesting.
regular military. Uh, but I did enjoy the Boy Scouts. Uh, I liked the camping. I liked uh, uh, the merit badges where you learn how to do something. I
Well, what about the
one
Boy Scout leader? Well, what about the Boy Scout leader? Did you like him?
we had pretty good Boy Scout leaders. Yeah,
Oh,
they
so
were
you were
not.
lucky, right? You had straight ones.
I
You
hear
had
what you're
straight ones.
saying, but it's yeah that I don't. That was the exception, Philip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just let me jump in here because you talk about the situation.
Hmm.
Now, I went to college. I majored in theater.
Hmm.
So
So did I.
half of the students and half of my fellow students in the theater department were gay. You
Hmm.
know, male or female. So what I'm saying is that I was very comfortable in that environment because they were my fellow. We that's how it is.
Hmm.
So I was very very tolerant, very overly tolerant of the gay lifestyle. It's I mean none of my
Overly
business.
tolerant?
That's
No,
how I felt.
I don't think there is such a thing as overly tolerant, really. Um,
Well, what
but
happened was this. Let me tell you why I'm telling you this. So now it's years later, and I had a gambling problem, and I had this great idea. I went to a psychiatrist. I had therapy,
hmm.
and after it was all over, I was living by myself over in Long Island. I wanted to I wanted to form some sort of a thing where every racetrack would have an office, and there would be in all the off-track betting offices in New York, right near the office, there had to be the government had to open up a little office, gamblers anonymous, where people can go if they feel like they have a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give the opportunity right near where they're going to go and gamble at that time. So I met with Chuck Schumer. I met with him because I went to school. I went to the junior high and high school with him, grade school. I knew him since we were kids. I wasn't friends with him, but I knew him.
Right.
And he had a meeting with me in his office. At that time, he was a congressman. And after I gave him the whole pitch, he said, "Well, Governor Cuomo is the one you got to talk to. That's more of a state issue." So he passed the buck. He didn't want to get involved. So then I went to I used to go to mass, to church, Catholic church I used to go to folk mass every Sunday morning or Saturday, I forget what it was. They had a folk mass. And you had Father Ralph. Father Ralph was probably in his early 40s, maybe a little older than me at the time, maybe 10 years older than me. And he was the nicest priest. He was fantastic. And he would, when he would, offer the communion, on the altar, he would tell everybody, don't put your heads down. This is the most mystical part of the mass. He said, if you can visualize, there are angels surrounding this altar right now. It was really cool. This guy, he was great, Father Ralph. So I arranged a meeting to give him my pitch on getting involved with having offices where people can talk to someone if they feel they're having a problem, gambling. So he met with me at his office in the rectory of the church, and we had a nice talk. And at the end of the talk, and it's funny, Chuck, because his voice changed. His voice started to get a little more like feminine. And he said to me, "Philip, do you like to swim?" And I said, "Well, I'm not a big swimmer." He says, "I have a cabana out at Malibu Beach Club. It's a very exclusive place. I have a cabana, and why don't you can come out one day and spend the day with me at the cabana?" And just having been around a lot of folks, fellow students and friends over years who were gay, the way he pitched me, he was propositioning me. That's what he was doing.
Right. You kind of got,
That kind of really, and when I walked out of that meeting, I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed. Yeah. Just the fact that he, that's the way I saw it,
Yeah.
I guess maybe
but
he saw it differently.
You probably could have just said, hey, thanks for the offer, but that's not what I do. That's not my bag. I don't do that.
I said, no, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I just said, oh yeah, I'll let you know, and that was it. I'll let you know, and I got out of it.
Right.
But I'm just.
But sometimes it's better to just get it out there, and make it real clear.
Yeah. I just was caught off guard. How's that?
I get it.
Caught off guard. I didn't expect that to happen, and it was embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
It was very embarrassing.
That kind of thing is always embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm sorry I took you off the track. We were talking about the military and all that stuff. But it's interesting.
Yeah, really.
We have different things. So you wanted to be ROTC? You wanted to do that?
At one point I thought that being getting to be a general or something would be a pretty cool thing. And then
I was 18.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm telling you for
a
reason.
This was probably when I was like junior high school age, somewhere in there.
You were younger. Yeah, okay, you were younger.
Yeah, and then we moved to Philadelphia, and I went to Friends Central School, and I
Quakers.
I was
Quakers.
totally
Yeah.
changed my mind.
Okay. Well, that's a Quaker. It's a Quaker school.
Exactly.
Um, so I was 18. I was having trouble in my after my first year of college. I didn't like it.
Hmm.
I didn't like the first year of college. I didn't like it because in high school when you're a senior, it's great, right? Remember? And
Mm,
now it's I don't know. I didn't like it. I had some terrible teachers too, you know.
mm,
So uh, I somebody the guy at the shoe store that we used to go to in Brooklyn. It was Branca and Italian people, Branca and Son. It was a nice mom, like a local shoe store. And the son had been in the Marines. He was quite
hmm.
older than me. He was like I was 18. He must have been like in his 40s, but he was in the Marines in the pit. So he impressed upon me how great it is to
Mm,
become a Marine. You grow up, you become a man, and he really made me so. And I knew that at that time the reserves were the last ones that would ever go to Vietnam.
hmm.
The reserves. The reserves would never go. In those days,
Yeah,
the
right.
reserves would be the last ones to go. The last ones that no one, when you were in the reserves, you were not going overseas. Okay. So I joined the Marine Reserves in
Oh.
Brooklyn. They had they had a Marine Air terminal at this field, right where right near I live. And I joined the Marine Reserves, and I took the what test they gave me. I was in college, I took
Mm,
I was going to take a year. I was going to take uh, a year off, I guess, because you're in
mm,
the reserves. You go to boot camp, and I think you. I don't think you stay for a whole year. But anyway, so I was supposed to go January, whatever it was, in the freezing,
hmm,
Brooklyn winter, and
mm,
the recruiting sergeant at Floyd Bennett Field was this Afro American big sergeant,
hmm.
like a lifer, and
Right?
he was very businesslike. You okay, Philip?
Mm,
And so I was supposed to go to Paris Island to boot camp Sunday morning. I had to meet at Floyd Bennett Field at 8 o'clock.
hmm.
So my it's in the winter. So my father's making me breakfast, and he's going to drive me. He's going to drive me. And the phone rings, and my father says it's for you. So
Hmm.
I go. He goes, Philip, this is Sergeant. He said by order of the President of the United States, dated today, January 1968. All reserve units are here. I canceled. So you're not going today, son.
Huh.
So I didn't have to go. So he said we'll get back to you as soon as it changes. So a
Huh.
year later he calls me up and I said
And
no,
you said,
Sergeant, I'm
no
not.
thanks.
I'm staying in college. Yeah, I'm staying in college. But that's
Wow.
a funny story, right?
Yeah.
And here's a little here's a caveat. The day I had to get the physical, it was
Mm,
like yeah, it was in January. The week or 2 weeks before I had to go to boot camp, I had to get the physical. And so I'm going down to Floyd Bennett Field where the Marine Air, term, whatever it is they call it. And I have to get a physical. And it's
hmm.
freezing out. It's a cold day. So
Right?
it's me and these two other guys, two Navy guys, because this was a naval. This was Floyd Bennett. Was a naval air,
Uh-huh.
Marine Air, and naval air. So these two Navy lifers had to get
Hmm.
their yearly physical. So the three of us are in this waiting area, waiting. So the guy says, "Everybody get down to your skivvies, and I'll call you in one at a time." So one was an Afro American guy with a big belly,
Hmm.
and he was obviously from the Midwest. You can tell. And the other guy was this kind of goofy looking white guy with the glasses, kind of a strange, just like very goofy,
Yeah.
like that. And I mean, when they walked in, they had those, the guys in the Navy who have been in. I mean, the way they wear those caps is really funny. You know,
Hmm.
they don't wear them like you and I would wear them. So so the one guy turns to the other guy. He goes, "Man, it's cold as a bear's ass." I never heard that before. He's from the Midwest, you know. So, so the other guy was goofy looking. Now this is 1969, January
Uh-huh.
69, I believe, right? Okay. Fast forward, 79, 89, 99. Now it's 2001 maybe, or maybe 99.
Okay.
I go to Pell's at the flea market. You know, I go to get
Okay.
oranges at Pell's
Okay.
Groves. They have a big, and there's a guy working there named Eddie.
Huh.
You know, he's one of the guys working there, and I'm looking at him, and I said, "Well, were you in the Navy?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "You were in Brooklyn, New York in 1968." He goes, "Yeah, that was the guy. That was the
Wow.
guy. That was the guy."
How about that?
69, 70, 89, 30 years later, I
Yeah.
recognize the guy's face. I reckon he had
Pretty
that
good.
same, I'm not me, that same goofy look, you know, like, anyway, isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is.
He passed away,
I
by the way.
I am I'm so bad about well, I'll recognize somebody's face from years ago, but I'd be afraid it isn't really them, and I chicken out on going up to find out. That's happened a whole bunch of times, uh, and
Yeah,
I know I'm
I have
missing
this,
out on a lot of you know fellowship that way. But I don't know.
you know what I hate?
Little.
I hate when I'm shopping somewhere and somebody yells out to me, "Hey, Phil."
Oh
I
God,
don't
I
remember who this
know.
person is. I don't remember.
Who the
He
hell are
goes,
you?
"Phil, how you doing? Where do I know?" I said, "Where do I know this guy? Is it from the racetrack? Is it from the YMCA? Where do I
Yeah.
know this guy?" It's so. I mean, it's
Well,
embarrassing,
I've
and you can't
I've
ask
gotten
him.
better at if that happens. I mean, it used to be I would just do a lot of hey youing until I figured it out. But
It
I've
happens a
gotten to
lot.
where I will actually ask. I mean, if I'm not sure, I say, I just can't quite remember where I know you. Can you tell?
Yeah, but the
uh,
problem is the person who's calling you. He obviously looks at you like he really likes you. Like
I
you're a nice
know it. I
person,
know it.
you
So
know, and he wants to communicate with you, you know, and so
yeah,
what are you gonna say? I don't know where I knew you from, you know.
yeah.
So, oh, it's a ball. It is a
It,
ball, man.
it,
Uh,
well, the
Jeffrey
crazy.
Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein went to
Oh
high
boy,
school right near me. Yeah, yeah,
really? Yeah.
yeah. He was 3 years younger than me. Yeah,
Did he invite
yeah.
you for any?
You know, isn't it funny? Wait, I don't want to keep you. I don't know how much time we have. I just say it quickly. This is ironic.
Mm,
Epstein was from Brooklyn. He
yeah.
went to Lafayette High School, which
Mm,
is really close to where when Trump's father had his building
uh-huh.
firm. You
Yeah.
know, they had these big developments that they had built in Brooklyn, and their office was right a 2 minute car ride from where Jeffrey Epstein
Right.
lived and grew up. Isn't that amazing? And they
Mm,
didn't know each other. They didn't know each other then. I'm
mm,
talking about, this is back in 1968,
yeah.
69,
Sure.
70.
Sure.
Like I was 21, Epstein was 18. I'm just
Mm,
saying, is that ironic? Think
yeah.
about that. Trump Trump could walk out of that office and drive his car over to Ocean Parkway
Mm,
I'm sorry, pass in the other direction. Drive his car in the other direction for like 5 minutes, and he'd
mm,
be right near Lafayette High School, where
yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein went to high school. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about what I'm saying. These are two people that did not know each other.
yeah.
It's amazing, right? And then years later, they were like, buddies.
Mm.
I think that's really strange, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's just
Well,
me.
how many people did you or I grow up near and not know? Anyway, there's the music.
Oh yeah, of course.
We're out of time. Thank you,
Thank you,
Philip.
Chuck. Take care,
This
Chuck.
this was fun.
Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye bye.
Listeners, see you on the other side of the station break. I thought that was quite entertaining. You sleep?
Do you want to really get to the roots of good health and stay strong for storms ahead? Then listen to Bridget's Well, Healing with the Elements of Life. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio A, where stories are shared about traditional foods, Chinese medicine, and simple, healthy living skills. Listen to Bridget's Well, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on Revolution Radio. Welcome to Coffee Rants with Dan. I am the spiritual anarchist, Dan, and your host. Tune in for what's really happening every Thursday. That's Thursday at 9 a.m. in Studio A on Revolution Radio. They keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant, so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by healing the contradictions within your belief systems that allow you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are. Turn to what we are meant to be, a service to others, to return to nature, to reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom, the truth. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So get angry, because anger is sacred, and together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity is simple. Hours of an organization to the madness, discussing the ever-changing dynamics of being both physically and mentally prepared for a plethora of possible outcomes to our future and present. Look into the latest technologies, new scientific discoveries, and how they might be used in connection to the human domain and controlling of ancient cultures and places. Be warned. This is an opinionated look through headlines. Guests that are not afraid to question the narrative. Crazy ramblings of one conspiracy factors that pushes constitutional concepts. Time of saying another dimension we call Mountain High Time. Saturdays 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Mountain High Time. Right here on Revolution.radio, where information never sleeps and truth breaks the spell. The rooster has croaked out the opening bars of the new day. Out of bed. Turn on your facts. Want to know what's going on in the world? But topical show that serves up those breakfast headlines just that little bit different. Do you like your early morning news the way you like your eggs over easy? Served with slathers of salsa-like sass? Do you like those first headlines of the day to deliver a punch as powerful as that first cup of joe? Join Mitchell Buck at his breakfast table for Revolution in the Morning, where he will digest, dissect, and dismantle those new day's national and global news headlines with razor-sharp relish. Find Mitchell here at Revolution.radio every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern on Studio B.
large opponents, nor does he accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising on now remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps. Revolutionist.com. Yeah, we're going to get back to the news.
Welcome back, everyone, to the New American Dream radio show. And, well, we're a little tight on time on this second part, so I'm going to jump right in. Our next guest of the evening is Richard Flamer. I spoke with Richard earlier tonight, and I'm going to play that interview right now. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Chuck.
Ha ha. All right. Well, I can hear you this time. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Very good. So I think you're in Des Moines, right?
I am.
Uh, I hope all is well.
I'm finished with all the VA appointments.
Mhm.
And I have to say that once again, I'm thrilled with the service there. The people are just so good. And I have troubles in that I only come up every 6 months, and they're used to scheduling out, but they make accommodations for me, and it's just wonderful. They're terrific. There were some problems with the Doge cuts. And when I went to check in the optical section for appointments there, they told me that they'd cut half the staff, and
Wow.
the next appointment wouldn't be until the end of December or early January.
Yeah, so
Which is-
I mean, that really doesn't work for you, for somebody that's only here, for a short time, every so often. Huh.
But aside from that, everything else has gone well. And then I make a point of looking for cheap books that I can take back to Chiapas. And I made all the rounds of the libraries with the various branches, and each of the libraries has a books for sale they've culled from their collection,
Right.
and one or two at each of the branches, and pick them up.
Yeah.
And then additionally, when I go to the VA, at every waiting room, they have a rack of paperbacks that have been donated.
Really? Okay.
So I end up, so far, I think I have like 30 new books, new to me.
Hey, that's not bad.
No, the issue is that I have to bring them back. So I have 2 suitcases, and one of them is already up to 50 pounds. Actually, it's 49.5 pounds. So,
I
but
guess they do weigh them, man.
yeah. And the thing is, the big problem for me down there is that, of course, there aren't any more booksellers in San Cristobal, and there are 2 in Tuxtla Gutierrez, but both of them sell only Spanish books in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
If I got around to going to Cancun or Playa del Carmen or one of those places of tourism, there's several bookstores there that handle books in English because of the tourist trade.
Right.
But where we are, there's nothing anymore. There used to be two shops, and I went there quite often to both of them, but they both closed shop and closed up. And being a bookseller in Mexico is not a great business model.
Well,
Although,
I mean, especially with the advance of ebooks and big companies like Amazon, just kind of taking over the market.
well, but I have several friends in the book trade, in the used book trade and the rare book trade,
Yeah.
and they're all doing well.
Are they?
Yeah. The big issue is that they many of them have signed up with Amazon to put some of their books on Amazon, and those sell pretty regularly and they get shipped out.
Yeah.
But the biggest issue with them is that they're all getting older. And-
yeah, I hear you.
And
A good friend of mine used to have a used bookstore here in Fort Lauderdale, and he's still more or less in the business. With a warehouse or two full of books that he tries to sell on Amazon and other and similar platforms. But the even though he might get a decent price for a book, the way the shipping is set up, uh, he almost always loses money on the shipping because they have a fixed amount that they allow you to charge for shipping, and what it actually costs you is considerably more. So especially if it's international, he might sell a really valuable book and end up making like $2.
wow. No, and in my, I've had lots of experience in the book trade.
Right.
And,
That's why I figured you could relate to that problem.
yeah. And what I discovered along the way is that um, I'm really good at finding books, but
Mhm.
the really rare stuff, um, what happened to me was that when I first started out, I found a copy of uh, Jack Kerouac's On the Road, a nice copy in a dust wrapper, first edition. And at that time, I sold it for $100, and I was just elated. That was a great find. And then as the years went on, I had several more copies and one or two signed copies,
Mm.
and my customers got more elite as I got better. And I
Mhm.
got to the point where the last 2 years, I only had two um, big sales, but
Mhm.
they totaled $210,000.
Good
So,
Lord.
It
Wow.
got to where in the beginning, I loved my customers, but it
Mhm.
got to where I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, the fun was all gone, and
Mhm.
I just didn't have that many decent customers anymore.
Right.
Well, I had good customers, big customers. I had
Right.
Zero Mostel and Jackie Kennedy Onassis, and any number of people on my mailing list, and
Ah.
and I was selling to the Library of Congress and the British Museum, and then it wasn't fun anymore,
Huh.
and so I quit and gave it all up.
Mhm.
Sold my inventory, sold my reference books, sold my mailing list, and moved to Antigua, Guatemala for Spanish classes.
Well, you don't do anything in a small way, do you?
No, no. And then as it turned out, it was a lot of fun. And then I became a photographer. then I got tired of that when I discovered that the photos that I like to shoot weren't what anybody wanted to buy. That is, I talked to one lady from the Getty, and she said to me, Richard, your photos are really terrific, but they're so sad, nobody's going to buy them. So I ended up having a number of exhibitions, and that pleased me. And then finally, I ended up working in the refugee camps with Don Samuel Ruiz, the bishop in Chiapas. And that was worthwhile because he used my photos when he went to Europe to raise money for the refugee camps to show how the problems. So, it was cool. But nowadays I'm, I take pictures of my dogs and I take pictures of
Well,
the flowers.
The internet is taking pictures of cats, so
Yeah, I always think about, and Dorothy Day used to use this expression a lot, but it comes from Dostoevsky, that the world will be saved by beauty. And I'm convinced that that's the case.
Well, I do hope so.
Yeah. And
there's so much beauty everywhere if you just look for it and see it and preserve it and share it.
yeah, I've been here in Des Moines. I've managed to get to a couple of art openings into the art center, the municipal art center, which is just superb here. It's really, really good. And I managed to, they have a show on now that's Miguel Bravo, the Mexican photographer. And it was a great show, just a terrific show. And it thrills me that here in the heartland, they're showing this Mexican photographer with life on the streets in Mexico. So yeah, that just thrills me. Although
that's pretty special.
I wish they would show Juan Rulfo, Rulfo, who is one of not only my favorite photographer, but has written my favorite novel, which is called Pedro Paramo. And most people haven't heard of it, but Gabriel Garcia Marquez used it as his model in 100 Years of Solitude. He said that without Pedro Paramo, he wouldn't have been able to write. Really a stunning book in the beginning of magic realism. And
wow.
So, and the photos, Rulfo's photos are just fantastic. But yeah, there's beauty all over the place.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
So here in Des Moines, I've been soaking up the culture, listening to music and reading, going to art galleries, and then I go over and have a cup of coffee at the Catholic Worker when they open up and talk to some of the guys, and both workers and guests, and it's a good life.
I am continually amazed that by the work that you, well, that all the Catholic workers do. I mean, the ones I know are you and Frank, but this life of service, really, dedicating basically your whole life to serving others and helping people. It's such an amazing commitment.
Well, the ones that you ought to be lauding are people like my wife, who's over there cooking now.
Yeah.
70 to 80 people, street people. And
Yeah.
there's the thing is, there's Catholic workers all over the world. And I've been to many of them, and they're all doing great work. But of course, every one of them's different. And they all have their little petty feuds and everything else. But in spite of all that, stuff gets done. And
Mm.
yeah. And we, I think back about, oh gosh, like 20 years ago when I did all the carpentry work here at the Worker. And and been 25 years since I sanded all the wood floors at the main house. And they really need it again, but I'm not up to doing it anymore.
I hear you. Yeah.
But it's nice to know that they've lasted this long and they're going to last another at least 10 years. So my dad always used to say, if you're going to build anything, build it for 50 years. Because at the end of 50 years, you're not going to be around to have to repair it. And he was right.
Well, well, when how long will you be up there?
I have another week, and then I'm back down to Chiapas.
Yeah.
So.
And you're flying this time.
Yeah, I'm not up to driving 4,000 miles again.
Yeah. You did that an awful lot of times.
Yeah. Yep. This last time was really the hardest, driving with a trailer and that truck on the back. So, but I'm not up for it anymore.
I hear you.
Yeah, especially because I got a rocking chair out on the front porch here at the Catholic Worker.
Okay. Wow.
And it's a perfect place to sit and read my book, watch the world go by.
It's not too cold for you?
Well, of late, we had a cold snap, and the last 2 days have been warm, and today was up in the 60s, so that's fine with me. But now in Chiapas, it's a different story. My buddies tell me that since I've been gone, in the month that I've been gone, there's only been 2 days that it hasn't rained.
Really?
And prior to my coming up, from June until the 1st of October, there had only been 4 days where it didn't rain. And so all my fruit trees are flourishing, and the cactus is getting overwatered, and I got fruit coming in. So it's time to go back and collect the fruit.
Wow. Well, you have a safe trip, Richard, and I look forward to visiting again next month.
Okay. And you take care, Chuck.
Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this show.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. I always enjoy visiting with Richard Flamer, and it was especially fun today. We had more of a conversation. So that was nice. The next guest is Frank Cordero from the Des Moines Catholic Worker.
Hello, Chuck.
Hello, Frank.
Hi. Kind of anticipating your call. That doesn't happen very often. What day it is? I got it. But like 4 hours ago, I had to check.
Okay. Hey, I'm impressed.
It's an ongoing thing. It's at a peak where, yes, and I have a 5:30 appointment I got to deal with. No problem. This is I'm in a place where I can speak to you. I'm on the first floor of Manning House.
Okay.
And everybody's other house. The house is open right now. So they're on duty. Eddie's in the store and he's in the serving line. And Luke's helping out. So I pretty much got the house to myself, and I'm trying to. I'm trying to get a handle on the next project, which is the Via Paces, and getting the articles and stuff together. That's always a labor of love. It's really something that we get anything out. And this year, we're only going to get 3 issues out, which is a bummer for me. However, when I look at who I've got working with, I'm not lucky to do anything at all. The bummer news for us is Julie is still struggling with the car accident and the concussion that's leaving her. Again, she can't go to work. She'll have another week or so off work, and that's really a concern. You don't want to see a community member, a friend, in pain. And then the confusion that comes with concussions, it's not an easy thing. So it's really hard for the household over there. I just can only imagine a bit for Muhammad and their kids, but they're doing well as far as I can see. But that's just under stress. And Julie is my key building block for the next generation of Catholic workers when it comes to ownership of the property, trust, blah blah blah. And at the moment, she can't be. She really can't work on that stuff. We're right in the middle of all that. And we've got lawyers that are going to work on, because the way the trust is written at the moment, it's just really, they say it's illegal or whatever, I've had it for a long time. Okay, let's fix it. But then the other biting me personally is I've got Social Security on my ass saying that I don't qualify for poverty health care because I own 4 properties. And just because I didn't make anything from them, I could if I wanted to. Therefore, I don't qualify. So I got to do something about passing on the property. So it's a whole new, it's illegal bullshit.
Really.
Yeah. So that's going on, and Jess is working. She's been home since October 1st, and she likes the job. It's on the west side. It's a factory. Low intense work. I mean, it's not something that'll hurt her in the long run. I said I'm right there for her anytime I can be. It's just I'm thinking about the season of Advent, which I've always considered as the most difficult of all seasons in this country to get involved in.
Really?
Because Advent's only 4 weeks long, and it goes right before Christmas.
Yeah.
Advent is a time of fasting and preparing and making room for the Messiah to come into your heart. Well, not this country. Advent is the time to buy gifts and sell Christmas. So nobody going to let Christmas and any church get in the way with, bottom line, 30% of the gross national product is done in December. So that's why I think Advent's so misabused. Not that all of them are certainly abused. And for me, the Advent is waiting for Jess. My Advent started 4 years ago, and my prayer was to live long enough to see her set free. And I'm alive, and she's not set free, but she's not
but she's up. Closer.
Closer. It's an Advent. And even though we're very low on community members, I believe she's like the person we need to help us turn our community around. We'll build a community around her. Community will be built around her because they will come, like that TV show, the guy, or movie.
If you build it, they will come, right?
That's just how I feel about Resnick, because I believe the combination of her and Julie and what we do here and me, this is going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And my Honduran family continues to pull at my heartstrings, and I will continue to stay in touch with them. I'm I'm quite. I really can't explain the heart tug that they have, except that it's deep, it's real. It fills a gap in me that somehow I wasn't aware of. But when I picked up that child and when they lost Amy, it was it just took me away. I would say. But I love getting connected with them. I love it when I can send them money and help them and do stuff. It's just, I love it when I can be connected. And it's a profound thing that I'm experiencing personally, but on the larger level, it's profound. What it means to immigrant, be a refugee in the world today.
Yeah.
Because you go halfway around the world, you get a telephone, you're right there with your parents and your relatives. That was not true when my people came over from Italy.
Really? So for sure.
It's remapping the whole human dynamic, which is global. It has been global ever since we in this part of the world started depending on oil and putting it in our ground by many means, and directly, indirectly, whatever. But oil runs the Industrial Revolution, runs global agriculture, and oil makes us all global. The relationship is global, and our human contacts are global, and we have to humanize all of them. And the more distance there is, the less chance for humanity. And distance by that is the distance of the heart and personalism.
Yeah.
So I know I'm responsible for the 10 billion on the planet, but my real investment is every human being I meet along the way, with intention to reach out to the least, wherever they're at.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, we may all be responsible for everyone on the planet, as you say, but it's those around us where we can really make a difference.
Right, and the proactive need to seek them out. Go out of your way, make it part of your life to find them, feed them, clothe them, shelter them, house them, welcome them, love your enemy. Love your family members. Sure. That's the hardest, baby. They're the ones in your face.
Really?
But it should be a no-brainer that we're not on the side of people who want to kill their enemies.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, like, whoa, that's a lie. No, don't love that way. That should be obvious. And the problem, why it's not obvious in Christian USA, as we have often said, or I have, is that the leadership, by omission, has not addressed the issues of wealth, war, and empire. Explicit in the New Testament. Explicit.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Blah, blah, blah. Frank, really.
No, it's good. It's good, Frank. So let me ask you this: Is Richard Flamer still up your way? Or?
I think he is.
Okay.
I haven't heard he left. I saw him a couple of days ago.
Okay.
I think his health issues are okay. I mean,
good.
The aneurysm that they're watching never grew.
Good.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
You guys are going to talk to him later on too, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Probably about as soon as we get done here, I'm going to try to get in touch with him.
Yeah. I marvel at the way Richard has come into my life. The Des Moines worker from Omaha and protest, and then tired of the U.S. and goes down to Central America and takes a camera and does all these human rights stuff, death squads. And known in all 5 countries for getting kicked out and settling in Chiapas. Araceli is just a remarkable woman. So it's just and now they're both here. I mean, there's the way. So my community roots are deep with the people who are here. Just really solid, like familia, family. We've got history.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And we do good things. It's not much, but we feed people. And we
Yes,
do good stuff when we have it.
and that's much more than nothing. I mean, it's more important even than you think it is, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's the whole rap is that we're the avant-garde of the kingdom of God breaking into reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's really an eschatology backwards.
Mm.
Living the future now.
Okay.
The future being heaven, and we're like, but we're the breaking in. We're the breaking in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it breaks in, you don't know what the fuck it is. But you sure can. The text clearly tells you don't get caught up in war. Don't get caught up in weapons.
Yeah, right.
And certainly don't get caught up in empire, because you're following the text itself in literature. It paints Jesus as an opponent, the opposite of Caesar, owning all of Caesar's titles. Someone they needed to put on a cross.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Don't get me going.
Well, Frank, thank you so much.
All right, brother.
All right.
God bless.
Talk to you next time. God bless.
Bye.
Well, that was Frank Cordero from the Des Moines Catholic Worker. And as you could probably tell, I actually recorded that one before the Richard Flamer one, which I played first. Anyway, we are down to our final guest, and it's a good one. Frankie, welcome to the show. I can't wait to hear what you got for us tonight.
Chuck, do you hear me well?
Yes. Good.
Awesome. Hello, Chuck. Hello, everyone tonight. Welcome to the new episode of the Frankie Story.
Yeah.
So today we're diving into one of cinema's most bizarre legends, Tommy Wiseau's The Room. It's the movie so bad it became good and then became history. So let's start. Los Angeles, the land of dreams, palm trees, and pure uncut delusion. Every year, thousands of hopefuls arrive clutching headshots and heartbreak, all convinced they'll be the next big thing. And then there was Tommy. Tommy Wiseau didn't just dream of Hollywood fame. He declared war on obscurity. He wanted to be a movie star so badly that when Hollywood refused to give him a part, he simply bought himself a movie, $6 million worth of one. Let's start with the facts, or what might be facts, because with Tommy Wiseau, facts are more like loose guidelines. For decades, nobody knew where he came from, how old he was, or how had he had so much money. When people asked him, he would smile and say, "I'm from New Orleans," and yet somehow his accent didn't sound like anything that had ever passed through Louisiana. In fact, it didn't sound like it belonged to any continent we know of. It was part Eastern European, part Martian, and entirely Tommy. Later, after years of speculation, journalists pieced together that he was most likely born in Poland and grew up somewhere in Eastern Europe before immigrating to the United States. But Tommy insists to this day that he is 100% American. And in a strange way, he's right, because what's more American than showing up out of nowhere and reinventing yourself completely? So now about the money. The Room, his self-financed masterpiece, cost an approximately $6 million to make. and Tommy paid for it himself. No studio, no investors. He just wrote the checks. How? That's where the mystery deepens. Tommy once claimed he made his fortune importing leather jackets from South Korea, which might be true, or might be another riddle. What we do know is that Tommy adored American cinema. His idol was James Dean, especially Dean's famous line from Rebel Without a Cause, "You're tearing me apart." That line didn't just inspire Tommy, it possessed him. He once said he wanted to make a movie that made people feel the way that line made him feel. Big emotion, real passion, serious drama. Of course, Tommy's interpretation of serious drama eventually meant rooftop screaming in weird sex scenes and people tossing footballs for no reason whatsoever. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. In the late 1990s, Tommy was living in San Francisco, taking acting classes at the Shelton Studio. That's where he met Greg Sestero, a handsome young aspiring actor who would eventually become Tommy's best friend and his co-star in the room. Greg was in his early 20s, bright-eyed, trying to break into Hollywood. Tommy was older. How much older? No one could say because he refused to reveal his age. He dressed
Yeah.
in multiple belts, often wore sunglasses indoors as if protecting himself from the light of reason. After one acting class, Tommy told Greg, "You have a great talent. You will be my best friend." And Greg, understandably both flattered and slightly alarmed, said yes. Not long after, Tommy invited Greg to move to Los Angeles with him to chase the Hollywood dream. Greg agreed. Because who wouldn't want to follow a mysterious, possibly mortal man with unlimited cash and a passion for monologues? So Tommy packed his black Mercedes, his acting ambitions, probably a few spare belts, and drove south to conquer Hollywood. One day he auditioned for roles. The problem, no one knew what to do with him. His accent defied logic, his mannerisms confused casting actors, his headshot looked like they were taken during a vampire fashion show. Sounds to me, Richard, right? Sounds like me. Was he Eastern European villain material? A romantic lead, a secret agent from another dimension? No one could tell. And when the industry didn't offer him a role, Tommy did what every great visionary or lunatic eventually does. He said, "Fine, I'll do it myself." He decided to write, direct, produce, star in his own movie. He would show Hollywood what it had been missing. He proved his talent. He would make the greatest drama ever made. He would make The Room. When asked why, he said, "Because the room can mean different things to different people, which is either very deep or the kind of thing you say when you haven't decided on the title yet." So Tom wrote the screenplay entirely on his own, adapting it from a massive unpublished novel he'd written earlier. The script told the story of Johnny, a successful banker betrayed by his fiancée Lisa and his best friend Mark. It was meant to be a raw, emotional drama about love, trust, and heartbreak. On paper, it sounds fine, right? But in Tommy's hands, it became something else entirely. The dialogue felt like it had been translated through three different languages and malfunctioning Robert. Lines like, "Anyway, how's your sex life?" or Leave your stupid comments in your pocket. Defied logic. One character even announces she has breast cancer, and no one ever mentioned it again. But Tommy didn't see any of this as a problem. He saw it as an art. He often compared his work to Tennessee Williams, and he wasn't joking. Greg Sestero, who played Mark, once said that Tommy was completely serious about the room. He wanted to create something that would move people, the kind of story that would win an Oscar or at least make them cry. So Tommy became a one-man studio, writer, director, producer, and leading man. Every decision was his, and everyone was, well, unconventional. For example, when it came to film, most directors rent equipment, right? Tommy bought it, but he couldn't decide whether to shoot on 35 millimeter film or digital, so he used both simultaneously. Two full camera rigs side by side. No one had done it before for a good reason. He rented a small Los Angeles studio on Fountain Avenue, and instead of filming on real locations, he insisted on building entire sets indoors, including a rooftop. When asked why, he said, "Because I want to control the light." Every day on set was unpredictable. Tommy would show up late, rewrite lines on spot, and sometimes fire people mid-scene. His direction to actors was famously vague. Things like, do it more real, or uh, you have to be human, but not too human. One of the most famous examples was the rooftop confrontation scene where Johnny yells, "I didn't hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I didn't hit her. I did not." Oh, hi, Mark. That scene alone took hours to film. Tommy forgot the lines repeatedly, missed his marks, and had to have dialogue fed to him through an earpiece. After dozens of takes, he finally nailed it and accidentally created one of the most famous quoted moments of all the time. The production was chaotic. Crew members came and went, exhausted by the confusion. Sets were revealed mid-shoot. Costume changed without reasons. At one point, Tommy replaced an actress without explanation and kept shooting as if nothing had happened. Yet, despite all of these, the cat stayed. Because underneath the madness, Tommy was sincere. He wasn't making a joke. He truly believed in the room. And that strange, almost innocent conviction was hard to walk away from. After months of reshoots and endless rewrites, the room was finally finished. The cast and the crew were not sure what they just made, but Tom was convinced it was a masterpiece. He rented a Lamley Sunset Theater for 2 weeks, a small but very respectable venue in West Hollywood, and paid out of pocket for everything. He even hired a publicist, printed glossy posters, and rented a massive billboard towering over Highland Avenue. The billboard featured his face with a haunted close-up of his eyes and the tagline worthy of mystery, "The Room," a film with the passion of Tennessee Williams. And below that, in big bold letters, directed by Tommy Wiseau. Oh, and his personal number. Oh, why not, right? The
Wow.
billboard stayed up for 5 years. People assumed it was a prank or some kind of performance art piece that never ended. But for Tommy, it was serious marketing. He truly believed success was just a matter of persistence. So opening night arrived. Tommy showed up in a tuxedo, the same one from those infamous football scenes, and prepared to bask in his long-awaited triumph. But when the lights went down and the film began, something unexpected happened. The audience started laughing. Not polite laughter, not the kind that sneaks out during a bad line. Full, uncontrollable laughter. From the very first moments, people couldn't believe what they were seeing. The dialogue, the acting, the editing, everything felt slightly off. There were the random slow motion montages, the endless sex scenes filmed from the exact same angle, all of them. The rooftop green screens was so fake it could have doubled as Windows XP wallpaper, something like that. And of course, the spoons, those framed stock photos of cutlery decorating the apartment sad. Audience members began shouting, spoons, spoons, and throwing plastic ones at the screen every time a spoon appeared. And in that moment, a new kind of movie-going ritual was born. Tommy was confused. Tommy was confused. He couldn't understand why people were laughing at his tragic love story. After all, the movie was supposed to be serious, an emotional gut punch, not a comedy club. Greg Sestero later recalled that Tommy sat in stunned silence during the first screening. But gradually, as the laughter grew louder and people started cheering his name, something changed. Tommy leaned over and whispered, "Do you think it's comedy?" Then, after a pause, "That's okay. I make them laugh. That's good, no?" And just like that, he embraced it. The film's 2-week run ended quickly, but began to spread. People could not stop talking about the room, not because it was brilliant, but because it was so bad. It was brilliant. A few months later, comedians and film students began organizing midnight screenings. People would show up in tuxedos, bring footballs, and reenact scenes live in the aisles. It became part movie, part performance, part therapy session for the absurd. Soon the screenings turned into packed events, a Rocky Horror style celebration of disaster cinema, like Rocky Horror that we mentioned in the previous episode of Frankie's Stories. And Tommy, even the entrepreneur, leaned into it completely. He'd show up to theaters wearing sunglasses indoors, sign autographs, sell DVDs out of boxes, and pose for pictures like a rock star. When asked about the movie's newfound popularity, Tommy would say, "It's good because people enjoy it. They laugh, they cry, they express themselves." This is actually kind of beautiful because somehow, against all logic, Room had become exactly what he wanted it to be, a film that made feel something. Um, it just wasn't the feeling he'd planned. Over time, its reputation grew beyond cult status. Celebrities like James Franco, Seth Rogen, and Kirsten Bell started hosting screenings and quoting lines. Critics critics began calling it the Citizen Kane of the movies. Isn't that beautiful? And years later, Greg Sestero wrote The Disaster Artist, a memoir about the making of The Room. The book became a hit, and in 2017, James Franco adapted it into an Oscar-nominated film with Franco playing Tommy himself. You know, it takes a special kind of fascination to make a movie about the worst movie ever made. When James Franco decided to turn The Disaster Artist, Greg Sestero's memoir, into a film, a lot of people wondered why. Why would a Hollywood A-lister want to relieve the awkwardness, the chaos, the pure mystery of Tommy Wiseau's world? But for Franco, it wasn't about mocking Tommy. It was about understanding him. Franco once said that Tommy Wiseau is the ultimate outsider artist. He came from nowhere, spoke in an accent no one could place, and made a movie that broke every rule in filmmaking. And yet he did it. Against all odds, he created something unforgettable. Franco saw that as a kind of strange, beautiful victory. To him, disaster art, it wasn't just about bad filmmaking. It was about dreaming big, even when everyone laughs at you. It was also about friendship. Two guys, Tommy and Greg, trying to make it in Hollywood and refusing to quit. Franco connected with that. He understood the hunger, the obsession that come with wanting to create something meaningful. He admired Tony's relentless belief in himself, belief so strong that it somehow turns failure into a legend. There was also something poetic about it, a movie about making a movie where art imitates life and life imitates art. Franco loved that mad energy. He directed the disaster artist while playing Tommy Wiseau himself, capturing both the comedy and the tragedy of someone who wanted to be seen. And that's what makes this film so special. It doesn't laugh at Tommy, it laughs with him, finds humanity in the ridiculous. It reminds us that even if our dreams don't turn out the way we imagine, there is something noble, even inspiring in trying. In the end, Franco wasn't celebrating the room because it was bad. He was celebrating it because it was real. Because behind every disaster, there is an artist. And behind every failure, there is a dream that refused to die. So, in a strange circular twist of fate, Tommy Wiseau did achieve Hollywood recognition. Just not a dramatic genius, but as a lovable madman behind the world's most fascinating cinematic disaster. And he's fine with that. He still tours with the film, meets fans, occasional drops, cryptic statements about his next big project. When people ask him about the room's success, he smiles and says, "You can laugh, you can cry, you can express yourself, but please don't hurt each other." And honestly, after all, who can argue with that? Because against every rule of filmmaking, against reason, against sound, even physics, Tommy Wiseau did the impossible. He made something unforgettable. That's the secret of the room. It wasn't so it wasn't so bad, it's good. It was so sincere, it couldn't fail. So now it became a cult movie. But what exactly makes a movie a cult movie? It's not about the box office success or Oscars. In fact, most cult movies start out as complete disasters. Take The Room by Tommy Wiseau, or Rocky Horror Picture Show, which began as a commercial flop, but grew into one of the most beloved midnight movies of all time. Begins with failure, or at least with some rejection. The Room was meant to be funny, but its strange dialogue, dramatic delivery, and mysterious creator fascinated audiences. People started gathering to watch it, not to mock it cruelly, but to celebrate it, shouting lines, throwing spoons, laughing together. So
Well,
that's the heart
Frankie,
of the cult movie
we're
for now.
about out of time, but I have not seen this movie, and now I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah, you have to
What a
watch it, Chuck. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
it's so weird.
Ah,
It's so awkward. It throws you off. It throws you off. It's hard to comprehend what you're watching, but
right.
it's so good. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chuck.
you. Thank you. and audience, thank you, and good night.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.